Welcome to Mr. Giant Reacts a Ting and Ting and Ting. I'm Mr. Giant. Hey, how all the giants doing out there today? You know what I mean? And Ting. Today we're gonna be watching the Canadian Maple Syrup Cartel and the Great Maple Syrup Heist of 2012 my animated history. That's what I'm going to be reacting to today, and it's animated, so I guess it's kind of lighthearted. So let's go in there and see what this is all about. Let's YouTube and simmer.
Something more Canadian. Oh wait.
Here we go.
Welcome to Quebec, home of poutine, Canadians who say excusez-moi instead of oh excuse me, maple syrup, maple syrup, maple syrup, and you guessed it, William Shatner.
What?
In fact, Quebec produces over 70% of the world's real maple syrup, not that Aunt Jemima essential everyday Mrs. Butterworth imposter bullcrap. And this is a big industry. One barrel of maple syrup goes for over $1,300, 26 times more expensive than crude oil. However,
What?
Quebec's near monopoly on the syrup industry has come with a cost. You see, back in the good old days when everyone just ran around sucking syrup out of trees willy-nilly, the market was almost completely reliant on the mercy of the famously pleasant Canadian weather. If it was too cold or too hot, there wouldn't be enough syrup and prices would soar. But if the weather was just right, there would be too much syrup and prices would suck. What was your average Pierre to do? Syrup Cartel. Now, when I say cartel, I'm not talking about a bunch of buff Quebecois guys just waiting to smack your booty and then apologize to your girlfriend. I'm talking about the economic definition of a cartel, which is an association of manufacturers or suppliers with the purpose of maintaining prices at a high level and restricting competition. Not nearly as cool, but way more applicable. In order to control production, the Federation of Quebec Maple Syrup Producers, as the cartel is known, imposed strict quotas on the production of maple syrup. Any syrup that is produced over the quota is confiscated by the Federation and
Wow.
added to the Global Strategic Reserve to be used in years with bad weather. Membership in the cartel is mandatory for all syrup producers in Quebec, and the Federation has been known to use some pretty extreme measures to enforce this. Okay, I just need to get these barrels hidden.
That sounds like the moonshine type vibe, you know what I mean? Hiding the barrels in the hill, you know what I mean? I wonder how many people did illegal maple syrup harvesting and thing like that, you know? Wow. That's kind of like the Dukes of Hazzard here, you know, where they have their moonshine and thing, you know, and they're driving through the hills, running from the sheriff and all of that. Did they have that back then? Like people doing bootlegging of maple syrup? No. That I could understand. Maple syrup tastes good. Alcohol, on the other hand, not so much. Not so much. But maple syrup, sure, I could understand people trying to harvest that and hide some and sell it for high prices. And I wonder if, you know, the people who are doing the illicit harvesting of the maple syrup, are they raising prices? Walking around with bottles or jugs of maple syrup, you know? I got the good stuff, man. You know, I got the good stuff. I mean, I'm making light of the situation because it was definitely uh, governed pretty well there by by what they're saying. I guess he's going into like some of the measures they're going to take to punish those who go against what the cartel says to do with the maple syrup. Let's keep watching this.
You can do this. Alright, I just need you to sign here and here saying that you are going to register that syrup. No! Or do Producers suspected of selling syrup on the black market are monitored 24/7 by bodyguards that they're forced to pay for. They also must turn over documents at a moment's notice and are subject to random inspections. While this only applies to rule breakers, it was enough to anger many producers who launched a rebellion against the Federation that included lawsuits, cutting down trees, and even setting fire to Federation sugar
Wow.
shacks, which is where maple syrup is made, not where the man in the white van said that he'd take you. However, the greatest act of defiance against the Federation was undoubtedly the Great Maple Syrup Heist of 2012.
That's not long ago.
In the summer of 2012, a Federation employee began his ascent up a mountain of maple syrup barrels.
What?
During their yearly inspection of the Global Strategic Reserve, Federation officials count every barrel in the warehouse. Usually the barrels are heavy enough to climb on without any issue, but this year some of them were suspiciously empty. Police were called to the scene to investigate, and they found many more empty barrels and even more filled with water instead of syrup. All in all, 12.5% of the entire reserve was missing. 540,000 gallons of syrup worth over $13 million had simply vanished. This was a sticky situation. No, please, I'll never do it again! In the largest police investigation in the history of Quebec, over 250 investigators questioned 300 witnesses and searched 40 houses over the course of several months. Finally, in December of 2012, the ringleaders were found and arrested. So, how'd they do it? Who did it? Why'd they do it? Why won't my crush text me back? Introducing our lineup of syrup thieves! Canada does not have hockey right now, so this is the best they're gonna get for sports intros. Richard Valliere, disgruntled syrup producer, sick and tired of the Federation's shenanigans. Avic Caron, formerly convicted of fraud and connected to the Italian mafia. On a side note, also owned the warehouse where the Federation kept its reserve. Etienne Saint-Pierre, hardcore
Etienne.
free market capitalist with a violently French name and a thirst for black market maple syrup. And finally, Sébastien Coutreaux, truck driver. Starting almost a year before the missing barrels were discovered, Richard Valliere obtained access to the warehouse through his new business partner, Avic Caron. With the help of Sébastien Coutreaux, syrup barrels were taken from the warehouse and replaced with replica barrels that the crew had made themselves. The syrup was then transported to another warehouse where the official Federation barrels had their syrup siphoned out into unmarked containers. The original Federation barrels were then taken to a nearby creek and filled with water to make them heavy like the originals. These were then transported back to the Strategic Reserve to replace the temporary replicas. Finally, the stolen syrup was driven to New Brunswick and handed over to Etienne Saint-Pierre, who sold it to buyers in the United States, Japan, and Germany.
Wow,
This process
international.
was carried out for months without fail, but after a while the crew got lazy and just started emptying the barrels directly in the reserve. This led to the empty barrels that doomed their plot. And look, this scheme worked okay just a few years ago, but I feel like it would be even easier now. Oh my gosh.
Run, we're all gonna die!
Breaking news.
Toilet paper!
Alright, you want to load all this stuff up? Sure. Yeah, sure. I guess you could. Luckily for the thieves, the Global Strategic Reserve literally had no security, so it took the police a long time to find them. But when they did, they were swiftly brought to trial and sent to the worst place in the world for Canadians, the American South.
Oh, wow.
Just kidding. Our story ends in a weird which is oddly anticlimactic. I mean, they filmed Beyond Scared Straight in America for a reason.
That last part got me to the American South. I don't live in the South here in America, in West Virginia. They consider themselves Southern, but they're not. Love pointing it out to them. But, this, wow. I guess syrup is Canadian Well, they say oil is the black gold for the Arab countries. Is syrup the beige gold, if you will? I'm just talking out my rascal out here. Anyway, thank you for watching this with me. I'll leave a link to this video in the description. I'll also leave a playlist of all of my Canadian videos. And if you like this video, this reaction, yeah, if you like this reaction, hit the like button for me, you know what I mean, and thing. That'd be nice. You all have a good day. Take care of each other. Cool runnings.